Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is Izza Roihul Alwi, and my student number is 054. So I'm here today to talk about my opinion about the organization of Papua Independence or Organisasi Papua Merdeka, and simply OPM. So it all started by the Papuan citizens that feel they are being treated unfairly by the Indonesian government. So they have been always want their own independence. So they want to separate their territory from Indonesia. They want to make their own country. So this is obviously shown that the Papua has already violates the third principle of Pancasila, which called the unity of Indonesia. So if they want to separate themselves from Indonesia, it is not unity of Indonesia anymore. It's not Persatuan Indonesia anymore. So in my opinion, this is not just a simple problem. This is a serious problem that needs to be solved seriously. So, with that being said, the solution to this problem is to be more honest. So, the Papuan side should talk to Indonesian government side. So they need to be open, they need to talk more about the problem so they could discuss what's the solution. And us as Indonesian citizens, we should not support this movement. We should not support Organisasi Papua Merdeka because Indonesia is one unity. Persatuan Indonesia is not just a word, it's a principle. It's one of the principles of Pancasila. So in my opinion, to solve this problem, Indonesian government and Papuans should talk to each other more openly. So the government needs to listen to their voice, to the Papuans what need to say. So with that, they could increase the probability of peaceful and trust to each side, both Indonesian government and Papuans citizens. So the point here, Indonesian government should stop ignore the problem of mistreatment and unfair treatment. I think that's it. Thank you very much.
My name is Alya Revalina and my student number is 124. And right now I want to share my thoughts on a very sensitive and complex issue, which is the Free Papua Movement or OPM. This is not just a political topic, it's also about human rights, history, and the future of Indonesia. Please keep an open mind and let's try to look at this from different sides. So, the Free Papua Movement or OPM has been demanding independence from Indonesia for decades. Their main argument is that Papua was never fairly included in Indonesia, especially because the 1969 Act of Free Choice is widely criticized as being manipulated. Many Papuans feel they have been treated unfairly, both politically and economically, compared to the rest of the country. And on the other hand, the Indonesian government sees Papua as an inseparable part of the country. From their perspective, they have invested heavily in infrastructure, education, and healthcare in Papua to improve local development. However, progress on paper doesn't always match the reality on the ground. Many Papuans still live in poverty, and there are regular reports of violence involving security forces and pro-independence groups. The core issues here is not just about independence, it's dignity, justice, and respect. When people feel ignored, discriminated against, or silenced, the idea of independence becomes stronger. And while I don't support violence from any sides, I do believe we must listen to the voices of the Papuan people with empathy, not just see them as a security threat. And so, what is the solution? Dialogue. Real meaningful dialogue, not just government programs, but honest conversation that include Papuan leaders, youth, and civil society. It's time to stop ignoring the pain and start building trust. Only then can we move forward together. Thank you.
My name is Nafasha Islamiputri Febrianti and my student ID is 128. So what is OPM? So OPM is stand for Organisasi Papua Merdeka. Why they are exist? It all started in 1965 because many Papuans felt they were forced to join Indonesia in a vote that wasn't fair. So they want to be got separated from Indonesia and wants to be independent country as Papua. My main opinion about OPM shows there is a serious problem between government and some Papuan people who want more freedom or even independence. How they are thinking about this? First, many Papuans believe their history with Indonesia started unfairly because of the voting that wasn't fair. And second, there have been reports of human rights violation and a strong military presence in Papua which makes people feel unsafe. Third, Papuans have a unique culture and identity that's different from most Indonesians. They want to be respected, but they got so many racism from Indonesian people too. And last, even though Papua has many natural resources, many Papuans still live in poverty. The fact is many Papuans still live in poverty and everything in there is so expensive and they don't feel like they are getting the benefits of it. So the conclusion and the solution about this issue won't be solved just by using force. The government and the people in Papua should gather and discuss like in a transparent way so that people in Papua feel included and know what's decision about.
Okay, my name is Sekar Tanjung with student number 89. Here I will express my opinion regarding the case of the Organisasi Papua Merdeka (OPM). The OPM is a separatist movement that has been active since the 1960 with the aim of separating Papua from the Negara Kesatuan Republik Indonesia (NKRI). This movement is not only a security rise, but also divide from the third rise of Pancasila, namely Persatuan Indonesia, which is the foundation of the nation. The third rise of Pancasila emphasizes that Indonesia must remain one whole and not divided. This organization involves the act of breaking it up, indirectly violating this principle because ending the narrative of secession. This is contrary to the Kontribusi UUD 1945, which state Papua as a legitimate part of the Republic of Indonesia. The second is triggering horizontal conflict between groups supporting independence and communities supporting the NKRI, threatening social harmony in Papua. The third is to undermine national unity with incitement that portrays Papua as a colonized territory, even though, according to international law, Papua has legally become part of Indonesia. Papua development is hindered. This has the most obvious impact of the OPM action in the obstruction of the development in Papua, which can be seen from 1. Infrastructure is lagging behind. 2. Investment stagnation. 3. Human resources are not competitive. From the three that mentioned earlier result in the gap between Papua and other regions widening, which in fact could become OPM propaganda material to accuse the government of neglecting Papua. That's the result of my opinion on the case of the Organisasi Papua Merdeka. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, I'm Zelia Febrianti and my last digit number is 195. So today we'll talk about OPM, Organisasi Papua Merdeka or Free Papua Movement, and why their action go against to the third principle of Pancasila. As we know, the third Pancasila is Persatuan Indonesia. It means all part of Indonesia we must stay together as one country. We must be united and not separate. But OPM wants to leave Indonesia. They want Papua to become a new country. There's a big deal and big problem in our country because it breaks our country. It also makes the country less safe and less peaceful. This kind of action, we can start fight, violence, and even war. It can make people feel scared, angry, and not care anymore. That's called apathy, and apathy can break the spirit of our nation. So, OPM is not just a breaking the law. They are also going against the Pancasila, especially the third principle. So, what should we do as Indonesian citizens? The first one, we must love our country. We must understand that unity makes us strong. Even if we are different, we are still one nation, Indonesia. The second, we must not support any movement that wants to break our country. We should support peace, dialogue, and togetherness, not hate or separation. The third is we can learn more about each other. Respect people from other regions, help each other, talk kindly. This small action help build unity. And finally, we must follow Pancasila in our daily life.
OPM is the acronym for Organisasi Papua Merdeka, which translates to Free Papua Movement in English. The movement is a separatist group that aims to achieve independence for West Papua from Indonesia. Here's the more detailed breakdown. 1. OPM, Organisasi Papua Merdeka. This is the Indonesian acronym for the Free Papua Movement. 2. Free Papua Movement. This is the English translation of the Indonesia phrase Organisasi Papua Merdeka. And 3. Separatist group. The OPM is a group that seeks to separate West Papua from Indonesia and establish an independent state. And the last one is aims for independence. Is the primary goal of the OPM is to achieve independence for West Papua. And the West Papua issue has become a flashpoint of conflict between Indonesia and the international community. However, studies on this subject have never been conclusive about the causal root of differences between Indonesia and the international community over the West Papuan issue. There has not been a theoretical account of how this issue is framed in international politics. Excising literature tends to overlook the fundamental narrative, that is, the contrasting view between Indonesia and those who support West Papuan freedom. This paper aims to analyze the root cause of this debate. Using the English school approach in international relations, this paper argues that Indonesia frames this issue with the concept of sovereignty and norms of non-inference, which represent the pluralist stand. On the contrary, the international community represented by Pacific countries and civil societies frames this issue within the concept of human rights and norms of self-determination, representing the soldier stand.